Welcome to our channel Daily English Talk, where you improve your spoken English every day with listening practice, knowledgeable content, and inspiring stories that help you grow. If you are new here, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our powerful and informative videos. Today, we bring you the inspiring life story of one of the greatest visionaries the world has ever seen, Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam, a man who went from selling newspapers as a child to becoming the 11th President of India. A scientist, a leader, a teacher, and above all, a true humanitarian, he dedicated his entire life to the progress of his country. Unlike most politicians, he became the president not because of power or money, but because of his honesty, intelligence, and love for the people. He was a man of simplicity, a philanthropist, and a source of motivation for millions. Abul Jainulabdin Abdul Kalam was born on the 15th of October, 1931, in a small town called Rameswaram in Tamil Nadu, India. His family was poor, but they were known for their honesty and kindness. His father, Jainulabdin, was a simple boat owner and an imam at the local mosque. He was a deeply spiritual man who believed in hard work and discipline. His mother, Asiyama, was a kind-hearted woman who would often feed poor people in their neighborhood, even when they didn't have enough for themselves. Kalam was the youngest in his family with 4 brothers and 1 sister. Despite their struggles, his parents always taught their children values of honesty, kindness, and respect for others. But life was not easy. Since they were not rich, young Kalam had to start working from an early age. He would wake up before sunrise to help his cousins sell newspapers. Imagine a little boy, barely 10 years old, waking up in the cold mornings, running from one house to another just to earn a few coins. But he never complained. Instead, he loved his job because it allowed him to read newspapers and learn about the world. Even though his family was poor, Kalam was rich in dreams. From a young age, he was fascinated by the sky, stars, and planes. He wanted to become a pilot and fly high like birds, but he didn't know how difficult that journey would be. Kalam was an extremely bright student. He studied at Schwartz Higher Secondary School, where he developed a deep love for mathematics and science. However, life was not always fair to him. One day, when he was just a child, something happened that left a deep impact on him. At school, he had a close friend who was a Brahmin, a higher caste in India. They often sat together in class. But one day, the teacher insulted Kalam and asked him to sit at the back of the class, just because he was a Muslim. This was a painful moment for young Kalam. He couldn't understand why people treated others differently based on religion. But something amazing happened. His friend's father, a Hindu priest, heard about this incident and was very angry at the teacher. He told the school, no child should be treated differently because of religion or caste. Education is for everyone. Because of this, the teacher apologized and never discriminated against Kalam again. This moment shaped Kalam's entire life. It taught him that knowledge and kindness were greater than any religion. Another challenge Kalam faced was lack of electricity at home. His family was too poor to afford lamps, so he studied under a kerosene lantern every night. Even when the light was dim and smoke filled the room, he never gave up. His hunger for knowledge was stronger than any difficulty. His teachers noticed his hard work and intelligence. One of his teachers, Siva Subramania Iyer, was especially important in his life. He taught science, and always encouraged Kalam to dream big. One day, he took Kalam to the seashore and explained how birds fly. That lesson made young Kalam even more determined to study aeronautics and become a scientist of the sky. Even though Kalam was brilliant, his family did not have enough money to send him to higher studies. He knew he had to work extra hard if he wanted to achieve his dreams. So he continued selling newspapers, helping his family, and studying at the same time. But life tested him again and again. There were days when he had no proper food, proper books, and no support except for his determination. Yet, he never gave up. One thing that kept him strong was his mother's love. She always told him, "If you want something, work for it. God helps those who help themselves." These words became his life philosophy. After completing school, Kalam wanted to study engineering. He knew that if he wanted to work with planes, he needed to learn science and technology. His first step was to join St. Joseph's College in Tiruchirappalli, where he studied physics. Even here, he continued to struggle financially. But he didn't just study for himself. He wanted to help his country, his people, and every poor child who had dreams but no opportunities. And this was just the beginning of his incredible journey. But he knew physics alone was not enough. He wanted to learn about aeronautics, the science of airplanes and rockets. However, life was not easy. His family was still poor, and he had to manage his studies and expenses on his own. He would often skip meals just to save money for books, but hunger never stopped him. While most students complained about studies, Kalam was grateful for every book, every lesson, and every opportunity to learn. He would sit for hours in the library reading about airplanes, rockets, and the great scientists of the world. Kalam knew that if he wanted to work with planes, he had to study engineering. His dream was to get admission into Madras Institute of Technology, MIT, one of the most prestigious engineering colleges in India. But there was a big problem. The fees were too high. His father could not afford it. For a moment, it felt like his dreams were over before they even started. But then, something incredible happened. His sister Zora saw his pain and decided to help. She sold her jewelry to arrange money for his admission. She told him, "This is not a sacrifice. This is an investment in your future. One day, you will make us all proud." With her help and support, Kalam finally joined MIT, where he studied aeronautical engineering. This was the first step towards his dream. But getting into MIT was just the beginning. The real struggle started now. MIT was not easy. The students there were the best of the best, and competition was tough. Kalam worked day and night trying to prove himself. One day, his professor, Kota Harinarayana, gave him a tough project to design a small aircraft model within a short deadline. He told Kalam, "If you fail this, you will not be able to become an aeronautical engineer." Kalam was shocked and scared, but he knew that this was a test of his future. He worked tirelessly, skipping meals and sleep. Day after day, night after night, he worked on the project. Finally, after many sleepless nights, he completed the project. When he presented it, the professor looked at it, paused, and then said, "You have done an excellent job. This is what I call dedication. Keep it up." For the first time, Kalam felt that he was truly on the right path. But life was not done testing him yet. Kalam's biggest dream was to become a fighter pilot in the Indian Air Force, IAF. After completing his engineering, he applied for the pilot selection test. He was full of hope and excitement. He worked hard, preparing for the toughest physical and mental tests. But when the final results were announced, his heart broke. Out of 25 candidates, only 8 were selected. Kalam ranked 9th, just 1 position short. He failed. This was one of the most painful moments of his life. The dream he had since childhood, to fly high in the sky, was gone forever. For days, he felt lost and broken. He had worked so hard, and still, he failed. He asked himself, "Did I make a mistake? Was I not good enough?" But then he remembered something his father once told him. When one door closes, another opens. If you don't get what you want, it means something better is waiting for you. And his father was right. Kalam decided that if he could not fly planes, he would build them. Instead of crying over failure, he chose a new dream. He applied for a job as a scientist at the Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO, a place where scientists worked on developing new aircraft and technology for India's defense. His first project at DRDO was to design a hovercraft, a vehicle that could float over land and water. It was a challenging project, but Kalam loved it. He put all his energy into it. At DRDO, he met great scientists and learned from them. But deep inside, he still wanted something more. He wanted to work on rockets and space technology, something that could truly change the world. And then his life took another major turn. In 1969, after years of working at DRDO, Kalam was selected to join the Indian Space Research Organization, ISRO. This was the biggest turning point in his career. At ISRO, he worked under Vikram Sarabhai, the father of India's space program. Sarabhai saw great potential in Kalam and told him, "India needs bright minds like you. One day, you will take our country to great heights." Kalam's first major project at ISRO was to build India's first satellite launch vehicle, SLV-3. This was a huge responsibility, and many people doubted whether India could do it. But Kalam was determined. He worked with his team day and night, solving problems, running tests, and making sure every part of the rocket was perfect. After years of hard work, in 1980, India successfully launched its first satellite into space using SLV-3. It was a historic moment, and Kalam was at the center of it all. For the first time, India had proven to the world that it could build and launch its rockets. Kalam had gone from a small-town boy selling newspapers to a scientist who helped launch India into space. After his success at ISRO, Kalam was asked to lead a new project at the Defense Research and Development Organization, DRDO. His task? To build India's most powerful missiles. At that time, India was not strong in defense technology. Most weapons and missiles were imported from other countries, which made India dependent on foreign nations. The government knew that India needed its own missile system to become a strong and independent country. In 1982, Abdul Kalam was made the chief of the Integrated Guided Missile Development Program, IGMDP. His goal was to develop missiles that could protect India from any threat. He took on the challenge with full energy and dedication. He worked for 18 hours a day, barely taking any rest. His team was small, and resources were limited, but his determination was unbreakable. At the same time, other countries were doubting India's abilities. Some Western nations even refused to sell advanced technology to India because they didn't believe that India could develop its own missiles. But Kalam had a different vision. He told his team, "We don't need to depend on anyone. We will build our own technology, and we will make India proud." And that's exactly what he did. Under his leadership, India developed 5 powerful missiles, which made the country one of the strongest in defense technology. These missiles were 1. Prithvi, India's first surface-to-surface missile. 2. Agni, a long-range ballistic missile. 3. Trishul, a short-range surface-to-air missile. 4. Akash, a medium-range surface-to-air missile. Ikalimang Nag, an anti-tank guided missile. Each of these missiles was a huge achievement, but it wasn't easy. The team failed multiple times before they finally succeeded. One of the biggest challenges was the first test of Agni missile. The entire country was waiting for this launch, but at the last moment, a technical failure caused the test to fail. People criticized him. The media questioned his leadership. Many even suggested that India should stop missile development. But Kalam did not lose hope. He told his team, "Failure is not the end. It is the first step toward success." They worked even harder, fixed the mistakes, and on May 22, 1989, India successfully launched the Agni missile. The world was shocked, and India had proved itself as a rising military power. For this incredible achievement, he was given the title Missile Man of India. But this was just the beginning of his greatness. Many people only saw his achievements, but very few knew about the personal sacrifices he made. At one point, when Kalam was deeply involved in his missile projects, his family arranged his engagement to a young woman. The wedding date was set, and preparations had begun. But Kalam was so dedicated to his work that he didn't even attend his own engagement ceremony. His work was everything to him, and he believed that his mission was bigger than his personal life. Eventually, he decided never to marry, dedicating his entire life to India and its progress. Kalam worked tirelessly, sometimes spending days without proper rest. His team members said that he would often sleep in his office chair and wake up just after a few hours to continue his work. He was always the first to arrive at the lab and the last to leave. One of his colleagues once asked him, "Sir, don't you ever get tired?" And he replied, "When you love your work, you don't feel tired. You feel alive." Kalam's genius was recognized worldwide. Scientists from around the world admired his brilliance and dedication. One day, he received an offer from NASA, the world's most advanced space agency. They wanted him to join their team, and they were ready to give him the highest salary ever offered to an Indian scientist. Most people would have accepted such a prestigious job without hesitation. But Kalam refused the offer. This decision proved that his love for India was greater than money, fame, or comfort. One of Kalam's greatest achievements was the Pokhran-2 nuclear tests in 1998. At that time, India was not recognized as a nuclear power, and many powerful countries pressured India to stop nuclear testing. But the Indian government, under Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee, secretly planned a nuclear test, and Kalam was the chief scientist leading the mission. The test had to be executed in complete secrecy because the US and other countries were watching India through satellite surveillance. Kalam and his team worked underground, making sure no one could detect the operation. Finally, on May 11, 1998, India successfully tested 5 nuclear bombs in Pokhran, Rajasthan. The world was shocked when India became a nuclear power. When journalists asked Vajpayee how India achieved this, he proudly said, "The credit goes to Dr. A.P.J. Abdul Kalam and his team." This moment was a turning point in India's history, and it made Kalam a national hero. In 2002, something extraordinary happened. The Indian government decided that Abdul Kalam should be the next president of India. This was a completely unexpected moment. Most presidents before him had been politicians, but Kalam was a scientist. He had never been part of politics, and he didn't have any personal ambitions for power. Yet the people loved him. They had seen his dedication, his honesty, and his vision for India. So when his name was announced for the 11th President of India, millions of people across the country celebrated with joy. And on July 25, 2002, he officially became the President of India. This was a historic moment. A poor boy from Ramaswaram, who once sold newspaper, was now sitting in the biggest office in the country. Unlike many politicians, Kalam was not interested in power, luxury, or politics. He was interested in the people. Instead of spending time in meetings with politicians, he visited schools and colleges, inspiring young students to dream big and work hard. Wherever he went, thousands of children would gather, eager to hear him speak. He always encouraged them to ask questions, and he answered them with kindness and wisdom. One of his most famous quotes was, "Dream is not that which you see while sleeping. It is something that does not let you sleep." He wanted every child to dream big, just like he had dreamed as a young boy in Ramaswaram. Abdul Kalam was not just a scientist or a president, he was one of the greatest motivational speakers in the world. His speeches were filled with positivity, wisdom, and powerful messages. Here are some of his most famous speeches and lessons. 1. My Vision for India. 2003, in this speech, he said that India should not be satisfied with being a developing country. It should become a global leader. He talked about 3 visions for India. Freedom. India should never allow any country to dominate it. Development. India must focus on becoming an economically and technologically advanced nation. Strength. A strong India can only be achieved if the people work hard together. 2. You are the creators of the future. Whenever he spoke to students, he would remind them you are all born with potential. Never let small failures stop you. Each failure teaches you a lesson. Keep learning, keep growing, and never give up. 3. The power of youth. He always believed that the youth of a nation determines its future. In one of his speeches, he said, "My message, especially to young people, is to have the courage to think differently, to invent, to travel the unexplored path, and to conquer the impossible." These words inspired millions of students, and even today, his speeches are watched and shared across the world. Abdul Kalam received countless awards and honors both in India and abroad. Some of the most prestigious ones include Bharat Ratna, 1997, India's highest civilian award; Padma Vibhushan, 1990, India's second highest civilian award; Padma Bhushan, 1981, India's third highest civilian award; King Charles II Medal, 2007, UK, for his contributions to science; Hoover Medal, 2009, USA, for his humanitarian work; Von Braun Award, 2013, USA, for his achievements in space science. He was also given honorary doctorates by more than 40 universities worldwide. His achievements were not just recognized in India, the entire world respected and admired him. One of the most incredible honors was given to him by Switzerland on May 26, 2005. Abdul Kalam visited Switzerland. The country was so impressed by his knowledge, wisdom, and personality that they declared May 26th as Science Day in his honor. Even today, Switzerland celebrates this day in his memory, recognizing his contributions to science and humanity. Even after his presidency, Kalam continued traveling, teaching, and inspiring people. On July 27, 2015, he was invited to give a lecture at IIM Shillong, a prestigious college in India. As he stood in front of hundreds of students, he spoke his final words: "Creating a livable planet for humans is my mission." And just moments later, while doing what he loved the most, teaching students, he collapsed and passed away. His sudden death shocked the entire nation. People across the world mourned his loss. Millions attended his funeral, and his final resting place in Rameswaram has now become a place of respect and remembrance. Even though he is no longer with us, his words still inspire millions. He left behind a message for all of us. Believe in yourself. You have the power to change the world. Dream big and work hard. No dream is impossible. Never stop learning. Knowledge is your greatest weapon. Stay humble. Success means nothing if you do not stay kind and humble. Help others. True happiness comes from making others' lives better. His life was a story of struggle, hard work, and greatness. From a poor boy in Rameswaram to becoming the President of India, he proved that nothing is impossible. Today, Abdul Kalam is not just a name. He is a symbol of inspiration, dedication, and greatness. His books, like Wings of Fire, ignited minds, and you are born to blossom. Continue to guide young minds across the world. His teachings will never be forgotten. His life proves that one person can truly change the world. So let's honor his memory by following his advice, dreaming big, and working hard to make the world a better place. As he once said, "Don't take rest after your first victory, because if you fail in the second, more lips are waiting to say that your first victory was just luck." Let's keep moving forward. Let's keep inspiring the world.